I mean, customers aren't used to doing that. They're not required to do that. But I do think that if you do that, you clearly are telling your advisor, this is really me. This is my objective. I think it avoids the potential for misunderstanding. And look, in a lot of the cases that I do, they're not, I mean, you hear the word fraud. That's really not true. I mean, yeah, there are frauds out there. I mean, Madoff's a fraud. But it's professional negligence. And good people make mistakes. I mean, good lawyers make mistakes. Good doctors make mistakes. Good accountants make mistakes. But I think going ahead and extending and facilitating that communication is very important to, one, being able over the long term to protect yourself if you're an advisory or in an advisor position, and to minimizing the likelihood of any misunderstanding if you're a customer or if you're a client. Second area that I think is very important, and I see too little of this, what is the risk tolerance of the investor? I mean, and that's really a key. I think almost anyone will say they want their money to grow. I haven't met an investor that would acknowledge, well, no, I certainly wanted it to grow, or it had never been there. But how much risk are they willing to take to achieve the goal that they say they want? And a lot of times the answer is you can't achieve that goal if you have a very low risk tolerance. But it's something you are better off learning about up front than ending up learning about later when you find that, you know, things have gone awry. And when talking to people, I mean, I can tell you at least most of the people I've talked with in my when you ask them, what did you talk about your risk tolerance, the subject never came up. And I think that that is, you know, something that, and I encourage, you know, an investor that's involved, explain to your advisor what you're willing to risk. I mean, try to be clear. And I can't tell you that investors, you know, don't have, I think when they're confronted with risk tolerance, it's a very tough question for them. I think good business practices really suggest that as an advisor, you do want to know that because it is a key decision. It is a fundamental basis of misunderstanding if you all are not on the same wavelength with respect to that. And believe me, I see cases which I believe could be avoided with clear communication. What are you looking for in services? And this is where you really need to think, because I'll tell you, the websites and advertising brochures are full of fluff. And what I found is a lot of times people hire marketing experts. And marketing experts will, a lot of times, they're going to say what sounds good, what they think is going to help you maximize your business. That's fine if you're doing it. But be careful because, again, a lot of people are going to check it out and coming to you, and they're going to expect that. And I'll tell you the big area I see this today. I see it in connection with the undertaking to monitor. How much monitoring is your advisor doing for your account? And on the other side, you have people that'll say, notwithstanding what their website said, well, we weren't monitoring at all. Our obligation ended at the sale. Our obligation ended at the transaction. But what is being expected out of the relationship? You know, what is the investor expecting you to do? From the investor's perspective, tell your advisor what you're expecting. Are you expecting to be called? Are you expecting him to keep you apprised? I mean, these are areas of fundamental communication. Both sides. Know who you're dealing with, which is sort of a subset in a way of what you can do with respect to improving communication. There are a lot of ways out there to check and see, about the people you are dealing with. Again, the internet itself is a tremendous tool. There are regulatory records. If you are looking to check out an investment advisor, Form ADV is very informative. If you're checking out a broker or someone registered, contact the Florida Securities Commissioner. I don't say use broker check because in our experience, FINRA's broker check is much less informative than the records of the Florida Securities Division. But that will give you a real history and background on the person you're dealing with. It will tell you where they've been. It will tell you what they have done as far as, different firms. There's some red flags, quick movements at times, a lot of movements at times. But it also tells you about customer complaints or if during their history they have been found to have had problems with their firms. I'm not saying that some of those may not be totally innocent. They may be. But as an investor, you'd like to be aware of that. And you'd like maybe to ask about it so that you know clearly what you're dealing with. What licenses do they hold? What qualifications do they have? Are those licenses really meaningful? Or are they just a bunch of letters put together? Senior citizen advisor, I just designated myself that. Sort of like being a private, a senior vice president, I mean, a lot of people that I see come in and say, well, I was dealing with the senior vice president of Merrill Lynch. Okay. Do you realize how many senior vice presidents of Merrill Lynch there are? I mean, a lot of people think things like, I'm dealing with the top guy or the guy right next to the presidency. Again, communication. What are you dealing with? Being aware of those things, I think, really does it. And again, I think that when you're talking about money managers, going on the internet, what does this person do? Is that what I'm looking for? Is that the type of way? And again, most of the time, you'll see historic performance charts. You'll get information about the person, and a lot of it you can verify. I mean, one thing that I think would improve a lot of this would be obviously clients, taking on, more investigation. But I think it's an equal duty that you all have a lot of the information, and it's your duty and obligation to communicate it truthfully, fully, and accurately. And in the way the law is, frankly, most of the burden is put on you because you all are the ones that go on television and say, we're a trusted financial advisor. We lead you through a maze. We're members of FINRA. We're registered advisors complying with the 40 Act.